All right, so at the beginning of this film, Nick seems like he's kind of given up on himself, or at least from the dreams he's having. Why is he kind of giving up on himself? What's going on inside of him?
Well, I play the character of Nick Powell. And Nick is a teenager graduating from high school who seems to have everything going for him, but yet he feels like nobody really sees him for who he is and nobody really understands what he wants from life.
Okay.
So I think he's trying to gain his visibility,
Yeah.
so speaking.
I mean, I think that's something a lot of adolescents and people who maybe had a rougher time of it growing up could certainly relate to. Now, I understand also that this film is based on a Swedish film or a Swedish thriller. That's something I heard. Is that true? And
Yeah,
have you seen it?
The Invisible was originally a Swedish film, which is great also.
Okay.
So I think the challenge for David Goyer, who did a great job in this, was to make it America, and he just hits it on the head with great music and there's very little green screen and blue screen. He really does create magic tricks and optical illusions in this.
Was Goyer the big draw for you in doing this too?
For me, it was a combination of things. The most important thing for me always is story, and I really found that this was a unique story.
Okay. Now, Nick, one of the more interesting parts of the film is that during his journey as sort of a man kind of trapped between two worlds, he starts to fall for like his would-be killer, or at least begins to understand her. Can you talk a little bit about how he starts to change his mind? And what makes him kind of view her a little differently?
Well, I think that The Invisible is a lot about polar opposites and love and hate. And the neat thing about this movie is it allows you to be a fly on the wall and to look at people a little bit closer with their masks down and see someone who you thought something about is something completely different.
All right. Now, he comes to learn that about his mom, too, kind of like seems like a bit of a cold fish throughout most of the movie until there's this one pivotal scene where he really it's the first time he really gets to see his mom, really, right? Is that what's...
That was cool, too, because I actually got to throw a chair through a window and smash stuff.
Yeah, and then you had that knockdown drag out with Marcia Gay Harden and just like, said, so what for your Oscar? I don't care.
Yeah, Academy Award-winning actress.
And
great.
Now, were there any lessons that you learned, like during your last big genre film, War of the Worlds? Any lessons you learned from that experience that you could kind of apply to like carrying this film? Anything maybe you observed from Tom Cruise or little insights that you got from Spielberg that prepared you for this?
Well, I learned immensely on everything that I work on because it seemed like I'm constantly making mistakes. But for them, I always felt like it always comes down to making a cool movie, telling a good story, and that's what it always goes back to. That's what we're in the business of, storytelling.
Right.